comments to me said that they would, it is in my impression after meeting with the military leaders, was that they did want to have some remaining privileges after the end of June. And their statement was that they do not want to have any special privileges after then, that all the authority will be turned over to the civilian elected officials. That's my hope. And I have encouraged all the political parties to insist that at the end of this process that the elected officials will have control of the government. My hope is that this will result in complete transfer of all authority for the governmental affairs from the military to civilian elected officials. Obviously in the future, as is the case in my country, when the budget for the military is being prepared, the military leaders will be involved in that discussion. But the leaders of the major political parties, including the Muslim Brotherhood, have assured me that their plans are that the final decision about the military budget and all other affairs will be made by the parliament members and not by the military. I met with some of the representatives of the young revolutionaries. They told me that they had decided among themselves not to seek political office, that they don't intend to accept any appointments to important political positions, but they will be monitoring very closely what goes into the text of the Constitution, and their basic demands, which are fairly well known by the public, they expect to be instituted within the text of the Constitution. Otherwise, they will object strenuously when the referendum comes and might go back into the streets to make sure that their voices are heard. It's been obvious to me and to others around the world that the SCOP has responded excessively with military force and violence against some of the peaceful demonstrators and against some of the women. And I've questioned the SCOP about this and also about the fact that there are alleged to be many detainees who have been incarcerated and put in the military tribunals because of their political positions. The SCOP leaders denied this very strongly and said that there were only 3,000 people who had been arrested, that they were all guilty of criminal acts, and they were being tried in the civilian courts. I know that there has been excessive violence by the military against the peaceful demonstrators, and particularly violating women's rights, and that these crimes will obviously be terminated, and that those found guilty of committing those crimes will be punished accordingly. But let me re-emphasize that this is a decision for the future officials to be making. The new government that will be formed, the Justice Department officials that will be formed. I was pleased that more than 60% of the qualified voters participated in the election themselves, which is a very good expression of the will of the Egyptian people. And my expectation is that the elected officials in the Shura and in the People's Assembly will carefully choose 100 respected Egyptians to prepare the text of the Constitution. That preparation of the new Constitution will be submitted to the people for approval or rejection. The great disappointment that I personally have had about the number of women who have had a chance to be elected. As you know, this is caused by two factors. One is that the quota for women was removed originally by the SCOP, and that removal was approved by the political parties. And secondly, that the political parties have moved women's names down on their lists. All of the political parties and presidential candidates with whom I have met assure me that both aspects of the Camp David Accords will be honored in the future. A continuation of the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt, and also the protection as much as possible of Palestinian rights. And when I questioned the Salafists about this, they assured me they had no intention of rejecting the peace agreement.